Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you for joining me. Happy weekend, everybody. This is a two-part live pertaining to a female who left her child in a car back in 2020. The boy child passed away, and now the mother has decided to take a lesser plea for the said crime. WBIR is the news. Give you a little bit of information pertaining to this. In November, a judge threw out 2 search warrants secured by KPD to search Chantae M. Cabrera's cell phone. We're going to get more into that information here shortly. The second part of this live stream is pertaining to a funeral home operator who was evicted from his home for financial reasons. And during that discovery, there were at least 30 corpses stored on the property. Thank you for joining me. Let's go with content number 1 pertaining to the death of a baby boy.
Our newsroom, a mother who was facing first-degree murder charges for leaving her infant son in a hot car pleaded guilty to a much lesser charge. Chantae Cabrera will serve 4 years on probation for criminally negligent homicide. Her 6-month-old son died on August 9th, 2019, when she forgot him in the backseat. Cabrera says she meant to drop him off at daycare that morning, but got distracted and went on to work. Temperatures that day were in the 90s. She realized her son was still in the car when she was running errands after work.
Running errands, is that true? What's bad about the situation are the 2 warrants. There's an argument of detectives getting information from her cell phone and then going back, I believe, with another warrant to get said information from her phone. So the judge said it was over. I guess it was too much of them snooping through her phone, whatever that means. Let's go into the belly of the beast and get some more information. I'm going to read you the original article, and you decide if she forgot her child or not inside of the car. Thank you. One second, everybody. It did appear somewhere. All righty. I'm about to do a little more searching. Thank you all so much for joining me. It's a little slow motion here. One second. I don't know what's going on here. The setting said private. This is crazy. All right, everybody, let me get started. A little slow motion here. Some reason. Hey, honey, I don't know why I didn't see anybody comment, no views. And I said, what's going on? Privacy was on private by accident. Sorry about that. I'm trying to find this original story, to the content that I'm about to talk about. For some reason, I can't find it. Too much going on today. 1 second, everybody. Trying to go back. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you. Sorry it's taking me so long. I had this pulled up. Can't find it now. Trying to find the original story. Okay, I'm just going to read this off here. Mom accused in 2019 hot car death pleads guilty to lesser charge. In November, a judge threw out 2 search warrants secured by KPD to search Chantae M. Cabrera's cell phone. This was uploaded the 23rd of this month. Chantae Cabrera, 34, is on probation for criminally negligent homicide, which by definition means a person's conduct caused another person's death, records show. She originally was charged in Knox County Criminal Court with first-degree murder and aggravated child neglect in the six-month-old's August 2019 death. Cabrera's February 2nd plea agreement before criminal court Judge Scott Green follows the judge's decision in November to throw out 2 search warrants the Knoxville Police Department had used to look through her iPhone. Green found that KPD went too far in using warrants to search through all of her phone. Cabrera told police she'd forgotten the child was in the car seat in the vehicle in the afternoon of August 9th, 2019. She meant to drop him off at a daycare that morning but got distracted and went on to work. Temperatures climbed in the 90s that day. In the afternoon, after work, Cabrera ran errands with her daughter, including a stop at the Food City on Clinton Highway. That's when she realized the child was still strapped in his car seat where he'd been all day. He was dead. When police arrived at the store parking lot, she expressed grief about what she'd done, saying she'd been so busy lately it was an accident. I must have forgotten about daycare, she told an officer. It's my fault, she also said. Cabrera also agreed to interview with KPD at police headquarters. KPD secured a search warrant on August 12, 2019 for her iPhone. They were supposed to look at activity from the day of the child's death. They went much farther, the Knox County Public Defender's Office said. KPD looked at concerning and potentially incriminating messages she exchanged previously with the child's father, Assistant Public Defender Jonathan Harwell wrote. The messages included threats of violence and harm, WBIR has previously reported. Police tried to use those messages to build a murder and child abuse case against her, Harwell argued, when in the end she's made a tragic, devastating mistake. When authorities realized the KPD search had gone beyond what was allowed in the first search warrant, they turned around in 2021 and got a second phone search warrant using the knowledge they gained from the first warrant to find what they already knew was on the phone, Harwell said. That's unconstitutional, he said. In executing the first search warrant in this case, law enforcement stumbled upon information which it believed incriminated the defendant, Harwell wrote in an April 2023 memo to Green. When the defense mounted a legal attack on the validity of the first search warrant, law enforcement sought and obtained another search warrant for the same phone and unsurprisingly found the same evidence. This happened, not coincidentally, on the eve of the suppression hearing 1.5 years later. In other words, the second search warrant secured in 2021 was a ruse to find what KPD already knew was on Cabrera's phone, all in a bid to work up a murder case against her, Harwell argued. KPD still had her phone at the time they secured the second warrant. Knox County prosecutors also already conceded the first search warrant for the iPhone was inadmissible. In November, after considering court arguments and evidence, Green said said the second 2021 search warrant was equally bad. A cell phone had become a treasure trove of information for a criminal investigator to look through, Green wrote. The potential evidentiary windfall for law enforcement, however, does not obviate the necessity of adhering to the constitutional protections Oh, Lord. According to Wendy, according to a phone's owner, before law enforcement may extract the content within a phone, the judge wrote. He added, by analogy, law enforcement illegally entered first warrant, an area where Ms. Cabrera possessed a reasonable expectation of privacy, viewed and seized that area's content, exited the area and obtained a presumptively valid warrant, second warrant, and seized the contents of the protected area. To paraphrase counsel for Ms. Cabrera, law enforcement sought to convince the issuing magistrate the probable cause existed to search the entirety of the phone's content and then fortuitously stumble upon that which had already, oh Lord, seized and continued to possess some 21 months later. Oh, what a headache. WBIR is the source. Sorry it took so long. Well, Shirley, it is what it is. I'm trying to find the original article so you can get a better understanding of why the district attorney and the investigators were trying to build a case against her. Let's go back to, I guess, 2019. Trying to make sure. Here we go. Knox News is the source if you need verification. For this source, was it an accident or on purpose? The information in her phone was very incriminating, which would lead one to believe she didn't want the little boy. Okay? So all that's been thrown out. So you couldn't use it to build a case against her. Just, I forgot. Knox News, once again, is the source. This came out October 6, 2020. Let's hear what this cop has to say that went on the scene at the Food City grocery store on Clinton Highway. Hold on, everybody.
The vehicle, we arrived on scene to find the deceased child on scene, and now the investigation is ongoing. Still collecting details in terms of what actually caused this, and more of the details of those will emerge as the investigation proceeds.
Do we know how old?
We do not know exactly how old the child is.
Young child in the car seat.
Young child. It was a young child. We can confirm that for sure.
Girl or boy?
No confirmation on that.
Was the mother or father inside shopping, or was it left here to go elsewhere? Or
Still collecting those details. We presume that the driver, the child's parents were here shopping.
Foul play expected at all?
We couldn't say. Couldn't speak on that without getting more in with the details of the investigation.
So what's going on right now as far as the investigation?
Well, everyone gets mobilized and called into force, right? You hear of something of this nature happening, and everyone rushes onto the scene. You have special force units. You have your investigative units here. Obviously, your officers who are the first responders, and just kind of canvassing the scene, getting all the information you can collect, so we can get to the bottom of what happened.
Do you know how long it took for officials to get here after that call?
Not long at all.
Was the car unlocked when the officials got here?
I do not know those details.
Is the store closing at all?
I don't think so. They look to still be operational, but I can't confirm that for sure. But obviously, a tragic incident occurs right here in the parking lot.
All right, that's Knox News. Okay, let's read the information from years ago. At first glance, the case sounds like an unfathomable, yet all too familiar tragedy. Chantae Cabrera says she forgot to drop her 6-month-old son off at daycare. She says she went to work and stayed there for 7 hours, not knowing her baby sat trapped in his car seat at temperatures outside, top 90 degrees. She says she found his lifeless body in the back seat after her daughter spotted his foot and asked, "What's that?" Cabrera says her son's death was a horrific accident she can't fully explain. Prosecutors have another word for it: murder. A Knox County grand jury last year indicted Cabrera on charges including first-degree murder, which is premeditated felony murder, which occurs during the commission of a felony such as aggravated child neglect. A conviction on either charge could be enough to land the 31-year-old mother in prison for the rest of her life. They are the most serious charges possible in the death of Cabrera's son, Giovanni Morales, who was found inside her car at a Knoxville Food City on August 9th, 2019. What Cabrera says happened that she forgot. One second. Oh, wait. She forgot to drop her son off and accidentally left him to die in a hot car. Happens dozens of times across the country each year. Nationally, kidsincars.org counted 949 heat stroke deaths of children in vehicles from 1990 to 2019. 56% of those children were unknowingly left in vehicles, according to the organization's statistics. It can happen to anyone, said Director Amber Rollins. Our brain and our memories fail us, and that is just part of being human, Rollins told Knox News. This failure happens much more often when certain circumstances are present, and it sounds like those common circumstances were present in this case. High stress, lack of sleep, fatigue, and changes of routine all drastically increase the likelihood that this could happen to you. Prosecutors analyzing these cases come to vastly different conclusions about whether they can prove a crime and whether justice would be served by charging a parent who's already paying an immeasurable cost. No criminal charges were brought in 41% of cases where children died from being unknowingly left in hot cars, according to kidsincars.org. When prosecutors did pursue charges, less serious ones such as reckless homicide, criminally negligent homicide, or involuntary manslaughter were common. A charge of premeditated murder is extremely rare, said Rollins, who could recall only one or two such cases. The charges against Cabrera suggest the Knox County District Attorney General's office rejects her account that her son's death was an accident, in part due to threatening text messages she sent to the boy's father. Cabrera's attorneys at the Knox County Community Law Office have filed a motion arguing that the seizure of her cell phone without a search warrant was unconstitutional. The search warrant that followed was fatally flawed, they contend, and so nothing police found on it should be allowed into evidence. Cabrera appeared at Knox County Criminal Court on Friday. Now, remember, this is older content. For part one of a two-part hearing about the motion. She did not speak during the hearing. When the attorneys began to discuss photographs taken of her dead son, badly blistered from hours spent in the heat, she quietly looked down and began to cry. It's my fault. Cabrera lived with her mother and had been taking care of both of her children in the days leading up to her son's death. After she gave birth to Giovanni, his father left them to work out of state, according to court records. Cabrera told police she'd been struggling financially and missing work to care for the baby, who had a respiratory infection on top of other health problems. Each day she went to work, Cabrera would load both kids into the car, her 9-year-old daughter in the front, her 6-month-old in the rear-facing car seat in the back. She would drop her daughter off at Pleasant Ridge Elementary School, then turn left from Pleasant Ridge Road onto Merchant Drive to drop her son off at Wonderland Children's Academy. The two facilities sit less than a mile apart in northwest Knoxville. After dropping off her kids, Cabrera would make the roughly 14-mile drive to Skin Wellness Center on Kingston Pike, where she worked. On August 9, 2019, Cabrera left the house with her kids about 7 a.m. She said she dropped off her daughter and thought she dropped off her son. She went on to work and arrived about 7:30 a.m. She stayed until 2:30 p.m. when she left to get her daughter. Cabrera drove back to Pleasant Ridge Elementary, picked up her daughter shortly before 3 p.m. and decided to grab some groceries before picking up Giovanni from daycare. She drove with her daughter to Food City, 5078 Clinton Highway, and parked there. While parked at the Food City, Miss Cabrera was typing a list on her phone of groceries when her daughter suddenly exclaimed, "What's that?" Miss Cabrera turned around, gasping as she saw what appeared to be her son's feet. Assistant District Public Defender Chelsea Harris wrote in a motion. She jumped out of the car, ran around to the back passenger side, unbuckling Giovanni out of his car seat to try to determine whether he was breathing, while also screaming for her phone so she could call 911. When authorities arrived to find the child unresponsive in the back seat, Cabrera said, "It's my fault," and told them she had forgotten to drop him off at daycare. She cannot recall much. Cabrera went to a hospital to be checked out, then agreed to be taken to Knoxville Police Department headquarters. She waived her right to remain silent and spoke with investigators Phyllis Tonkin and Clayton Madison without an attorney present. Cabrera told them how she'd been stressed out, how she had a tumultuous relationship with her son's father. She spoke about her morning routine in general, but according to police and prosecutors, seemed foggy on the details from earlier that day. She can't recall much about the morning in question other than putting Giovanni into the car seat, Assistant District Attorney Nate Ogle wrote in a court filing. She cannot recall if he made noise in his car seat that morning. She can't recall if there was a commotion that would have distracted her from dropping him off. She stated that she believes she took Giovanni to daycare, but does not describe turning onto Merchant Drive from Pleasant Ridge Elementary or interacting with anyone at Wonderland Daycare. At the beginning of the interview, the investigators asked Cabrera for permission to download data from her cell phone. She said no. At the end of the interview, they told her they were seizing her phone anyway. It was past 6 p.m. on a Friday, and Tonkin testified she didn't think she could find a judge to sign off on a search warrant at that hour. She waited until the following Monday to write up a warrant, which was signed by now retired criminal court judge Bob McGee. The messages on the phone showed Cabrera began engaging in long tirades and threats of extreme physical violence against Giovanni's father after he left them, Ogle wrote. She expressed not only her intent on occasion to abandon the infant, but also threatened to physically harm Giovanni. That's the child. The father later spoke with investigators and said he was concerned by Cabrera's messages, but never reported her to authorities. She had no prior criminal record and no history with the State Department of Children's Services, according to court records. Additionally, GPS data from Cabrera's phone shows she almost certainly drove directly through the busy intersection that morning and never made the left turn to drop her son off at daycare, Ogle wrote. Cabrera's attorneys argued the seizure of cell phone without a warrant was unconstitutional because the investigators had no probable cause to believe a crime had been committed or that the phone would contain evidence of a crime. Prosecutors disagree and contend the seizure was reasonable under the circumstances. Cabrera's attorneys also argued the search warrant Tonkin wrote was overly broad, contained at least one mistake, and included a false statement that Cabrera told police she was in possession of and used her cell phone throughout the day. The search warrant issue was a general warrant warned against by our framers, which allowed law enforcement officers to conduct a fishing expedition without limitation, reads the defense motion. The bags in the back seat. At Friday's hearing, Ogle, the prosecutor, put Tonkin, the police investigator, on the stand. He walked the 18-year Knoxville Police Department veteran through the steps of her investigation. While prosecutors' exact theory of the case remains unclear, Ogle's questions reveal some of the ways they may try to cast doubt on Cabrera's story. Ogle asked about the Nissan Altima that Cabrera was driving that day. It's a smaller car, Tonkin said. He asked about the space between the driver's seat and the back seat. It's very tight, Tonkin replied, holding her hands about shoulder width apart. Now, I'm glad they mentioned this because I was assuming she was driving an SUV. So obviously she was not. So what the officer is trying to say here is it's a tight spot from the front seat to the back seat, basically saying, how would you not know your child's in the back seat of the car in a car seat? Okay, here we go. Ogle asked about several bags found in the rear floorboard in front of where Giovanni was sitting in his rear-facing car seat. At the Food City, a large black diaper bag sat underneath Cabrera's purse and a bag she used to carry her lunch, Tonkin testified. Oh, very interesting. So, several bags were found in the rear floorboard where the baby would have been sitting right in front of him. And back there would be a large black diaper bag sat underneath Cabrera's purse. So you see where that's going. So basically they're saying she knew the baby was back there because you'd have to put the bag back there where the baby was. You'd also have to take your purse into work. Bingo card. Stay woke. The testimony suggested Cabrera would have had to grab her purse, amen, and lunch to go into work. She ate part of the lunch at work that day and returned the bags to the rear floorboard 7 hours later, all without noticing her son in the back seat. Ogle, who called Cabrera's story implausible in a filing, asked Tonkin whether she believed the mother could have been distracted by her phone. Yes, came the answer. Ogle finished his questioning after an hour, and Judge Scott Green ended the hearing due to a scheduling conflict. The defense is scheduled to cross-examine Tonkin November 13th. And remember, this is older content that I'm reading to you from years ago. Okay, let's get back to where I was. Let's see. Ogle finished his questioning after an hour, and Judge Scott Green ended the hearing due to a scheduling conflict. Once again, the defense is scheduled to cross-examine on November 13th. Green said he's not going to prejudge anything, but hinted he's leaning toward ruling that the seizure and search were reasonable. If you've got a dead child and a mom who can't explain how the child's dead and why she didn't drop him off at the daycare and a phone that can track GPS data, Green said, well, I'll let you go into what you need to get into. That's from years ago. Knox News is the source. This article, go back up here, give you the date. Wow, so much information. October 6, 2020, and the incident took place 2019. Thank you all so much for joining me. So what we have here is BS. I knew it was BS when I first heard the story years ago because I knew better. I knew she probably went in her car for lunch. Possibly. The fact that she did all this ripping and running that morning, dropping the daughter off, and then drop the son off, drive all the way to West Knoxville to her job. Nice little ways too. And then jump back in that same car in the afternoon, like they said, you can't see your child sitting in the car when you first walk up to your automobile at 2-something in the afternoon. Did the car have tinted windows to where you wouldn't be able to just see straight through the windows to know that you've left your child? You just jumped in. Oh, I got to go pick up my other child. Play it out. Let's walk it out. But what's incriminating, besides the text messages, are the bags in the floorboard that sit in front of the boy child in the car seat. You had them taking your purse out of the car, ma'am. Let me say it again. When you got to work, you shut your engine off, swiveled your legs out of the car, stood up, shut the driver's door, opened the back seat to get out your lunch bag and your purse, bingo card. There you would have seen your child sitting in the back seat. And whether you open either side of the back doors, you still would see your child back there before shutting the doors, locking them, walking away and going into work, bingo card. So either way, she saw the child. That would lead me to believe she left the child there deliberately. So she has now pled to a lesser charge. Let's get that information out to you. Thank you for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $BigAngie. 129 Cash App, stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. I think she didn't want the child. She didn't want to be bothered. That's my personal opinion. She's having problems with the boyfriend, baby daddy. He's gone, moved on, moved out of town. Which you have to ask yourself, if he moved out of town for work or whatever, why didn't he take her and her kids? If it's a solid relationship, why didn't you take her with you? Why didn't you set up a place for her, your baby boy, and her girl child? See, those are the questions you have to ask. What happened? And once again, there has been an arrest in the case of the young lady who was viciously unalived down in Georgia at the University of Georgia, Athens. That suspect is now in custody for those of you who are following that story. Waiting for my content to upload. Thank you for joining me. 2-part live, everybody. 2-part live. An East Tennessee woman once accused of first-degree murder in a hot car death of her infant son will serve a 4-year sentence after agreeing to plead guilty to a significantly lower felony. Chantae Cabrera, 34, is on probation for criminally negligent homicide, which by definition means a person's conduct caused another person's death. Records show she originally was charged in Knox County Criminal Court with first-degree murder and aggravated child neglect in the 6-month-old's August 2019 death. Cabrera's February 2nd plea agreement before criminal court Judge Scott Green follows the judge's decisions in November to throw out 2 search warrants the Knoxville Police Department had used to look through her iPhone. Green found that KPD went too far in using the warrants to search through the phone. So I'm not getting ready to read all of that because I just read all that. 4 years. That's all she's getting. The police knew she left the baby in there because they're going to look at everything. They're going to look at the car. They're going to look at you. They're going to look at the daughter. They're going to look at how you're acting, what you're wearing. They're going to look inside the car. And if they see the bag or bags in the back seat of the car, work bag, lunch bag, purse, they're going to say to themselves, well, then how did you miss the child? So, Ms. Cabrera, how did you miss your son? Help me understand. You got bags in the floorboard. That's why I said it doesn't matter where the child was sitting. He's sitting on the left. He's sitting on the right. He's sitting in the middle. It don't matter where the purse sat. It don't matter where the lunch bag sat. It don't matter where the Target bag sat. So long as you took those bags out of there to go to work, you knew your son was in that damn back seat. You killed that baby on purpose. That's what I believe. You unalived that child because you were having problems. You were tired of dealing with the father. Maybe you wanted the father back. Y'all couldn't work it out. It was too much dealing with the boy child. He's a spitting image of the daddy. I've heard this 1,000 times. People are always taking their problems out on their children because they're not getting along with the parent. So then they want to start abusing the child. They don't want the child because they ain't got a relationship with them. Or they don't want the relationship and don't want the child either. You know exactly what you were doing that morning when you got up to take those kids to school. You deliberately took your girl child to school first and drove on to your job with that baby in the back seat. Beautiful little baby. I mean, he was gorgeous, that baby. Just the cutest thing ever. And I just felt, I have to be careful what I say on this live stream. I'll let you use your imagination, what I wanted to do. 4 years is the due bill for unaliving a boy child. And they had every right to go on the phone because common sense would tell the judge. They went through her phone because of what they saw in the car. Damn, what you don't understand about that? That's the whole purpose of them being detectives. They detect. They investigate. They ask questions. And from my understanding, there was a lady who was an eyewitness in the parking lot who says they went in the store and shopped and came back out and discovered the baby. I believe her version is we pulled up to Food City and my daughter discovered the foot. So amazing how your daughter can sit in the front seat of a Nissan Altima and notice the baby's foot sitting out of the car seat, but you couldn't. And you're the one getting in and out of the car. Help us understand. Like I said, it's not an SUV. You're rushing, you're running. Maybe you would forget the child sitting up high. You know, we know people sometimes unload groceries first before getting the baby out the seat, or you take the child out first, then unload the groceries. Probably best to take the child out first, put the child in the house, then come back out and unload your parcels. That's the safest thing to do. You knew exactly what you were doing, ma'am. You left that baby in that car deliberately, and that's my opinion. Because the bags in the car tells the story. And the eyewitness says you went in the store, shopped, and came back out. And we believe this woman's version. And then you act like you discovered the child. That's my sad commentary. Second part of this live stream is another debacle dealing with the deceased. I don't know what is going on lately with all these horrific stories of people harboring corpses. We had Adam Montgomery and Kayla Montgomery toting a deceased baby around for about 3 months or more. We keep hearing of stories of funeral home directors not using safe practices of the dead, not embalming them, not cremating them, giving families different ashes that belong to somebody else. Now I'm going to bring you a horrific story out of Denver, Colorado. Thank you for joining me. Please go to my community board to check all said updates. Well, I guess the judge is saying you already searched the phone. There's nothing new on it for you to go back and search, 2 years later or so. I don't know. I feel like they searched the phone because of what they saw in the car. If they saw bags in the car, in the floorboard, sitting in front of the child, that alludes to the fact that you had to have seen the child in the car seat, because how are you going to open the back door, put your bags in the floor in front of the baby without seeing the baby? So, it is what it is. I try not to put much stock in anything. The judge is stupid. He knows damn well she murdered that baby. Just to stop the damn bullshit. KHOU 11 is the source of this next information. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to play. Sorry. Jumping the gun. I was going to bring you another third story. I'm not want to go too long. Not feeling the best right now. So let's start off with this mess out of Denver.
Denver neighborhood after a woman's body was found decaying inside a hearse.
That body was discovered along with the cremated remains of at least 30 people during the eviction of a former funeral home owner.
Hey, Hagen.
Denver 7's Christian Lopez has the
Buffalo,
latest on this
Myron.
investigation.
We are standing in the neighborhood where the shocking discovery was made. It was this house right behind us. Police say the woman who was found passed away a year and a half ago. This has all left neighbors in the area completely shocked.
Last week, I had just got home, and then there was tape, red tape.
It was a sight Marco Camacho was surprised to see in his Denver neighborhood.
I saw people in suits and like hazard suits and detectives. You guys are hearing that? It's kind of crazy.
What was even more shocking was hearing what had been found just a few doors down.
You just never know what anybody's up to.
Deputies say they discovered cremated remains of at least 30 people and the body of a 63-year-old woman inside a hearse on the property, all after the tenant, Miles Harford, was evicted on February 6th. Harford formerly owned Apollo Funeral and Cremation Services. His LinkedIn page appears to confirm he was a funeral director and notary public. He now faces charges for abusing a corpse, forgery, and theft. Denver police say he had run into financial issues.
Mr. Harford may have occasionally provided family members with another person's cremated remains in lieu of their family members' remains so services could be held. There have been conversations with him. Without getting into the details, recognizing a future prosecution, he does acknowledge that he could not find a crematory to process the woman's body. And then he felt that at that point, he just stored it in the hearse and then provided remains to the family so they could have their services.
The woman's family said they had previously been given what they believed were her cremated remains.
They're devastated. They're shocked. They were hurt by this. They believed and they were processing their grief with the remains that they had and had services with that.
Losing a loved one is hard enough, but when the loved one's remains are mishandled, it just adds to the grief and causes further unnecessary pain.
You wouldn't expect it here. You never know what's going on.
Denver police tells us Harford is cooperating with the investigation. Based on what they can charge him with now, he does face a maximum of 3 years in jail. Denver police is hoping that they'll be able to return the remains that were found to their loved ones' families. In Denver, I'm Christian Lopez, Denver 7.
Police say Harford is not on the run and has recently been in contact with officials. They're working to facilitate an arrest, and we have asked for clarification on what exactly this means. Officials are urging anyone who's used Apollo Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Littleton or who did not receive the remains of a loved one to contact them.
Going in depth, there's been a renewed push for serious change in Colorado's funeral industry after nearly 200 bodies were found improperly stored at the Return to Nature Funeral Home in Penrose last year. Right now, Colorado is the only state in the U.S. that does not require licenses for funeral home owners or directors. But that could change soon. Less than 2 months ago, the Colorado Funeral Directors Association asked the state to conduct a review, proposing that funeral professionals should be licensed in order to protect public health and safety. The review listed a number of cases, including Sunset Mesa in Montrose, that funeral home, which doubled as a body broker. Now, in response, some lawmakers said they plan to sponsor a bill this legislative session that would require licenses for funeral directors.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is content number 2. So, oh, wow. Denver 7 is the source. This young guy, very young, says he couldn't find someone to do the cremation. Well, that doesn't make any sense because you're the one who has the cremation business. How does that look? You saying to the officials, I don't have the resources to cremate the body. Well, that's on your page, your website. So people would assume you have the resources to do cremations or burials or whatever it is that you claim that you can do. So what happened? He started taking all these people, but didn't have a way to cremate them, bury them, didn't have the right, what do you call it, machinery? I don't know. But they would have never found any of this out had he not gotten evicted from his house. So the landlord must have went in the property and found these bodies, the woman in the hearse. She's been laying back there for 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. Let's get some more information pertaining to this debacle. And Penrose is also in Colorado. Please go into YouTube Q and go into my library and look at my videos pertaining to the Penrose debacle of all those bodies stacked up in this building, which is just trifling. And it's unhuman to not bury the dead. Now, the other day I brought you content from Mississippi. Bodies being stored on the property in the back of a jail. We will see how that turns out, if anybody's going to stand account for those bodies buried. And they weren't inmates either. So now we're all the way across country, the west side of the country, Colorado. What's wrong with Colorado's officials thinking it's okay to have funeral services and not have a license? This makes no sense to me. Why would you not want to have businesses with licenses to bury the dead? So now we have to think about all of the people who have funeral homes. Are they doing the right thing by the people? Because this man also took money, so he's charged with theft as well. Because you took the woman's family's money, $1,000+ to cremate her, and she's been sitting back there in a hearse. So now we got to ask that question. Did the neighbors smell anything? Duh. Wow, wow, wow. That's not including the other 30 bodies. Plus her. What's 31? Can't make this stuff up. All right, everybody. Let's gonna play some audio pertaining to the allegations. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. As the guy said, you don't know what's going on in people's apartments. You got that right. Might bring you another story too of some hanky-panky going on out there in Texas. This is some, I don't understand people. I just don't. I'm not trying to be, make crack jokes, but I guess I'm really laughing in disbelief because I can't understand how these people walking around and taking people's money and acting like they're doing right by the people and they're not. I know there's desperation trying to make money and survive, but at some point you should know you're going to get payback for doing things like this. You're not going to have any good luck. There's just no way. Former funeral home owner arrested after hoarding cremains, hiding corpse in hearse for 2 years. News Nation is the source. Going to try to see if I can play the audio. Well, Cole, my thing is it's probably been going on. That's the whole point of abuse, neglect. There's no respect for you living, and obviously now you see there's no respect for the dead. So you can't get any respect while walking around and breathing, and you can't get respect to be put 6 feet down. It's terrible. If you make it. Hold on one second. I'm trying to get it to load. It's not loading. This world has gone to heck. Yeah. Well, I don't know why I can't. I hate these articles with these audios. They act like they can't load for some reason. 1 second, everybody. For the almighty dollar, indeed. He had to have known they want to find the bodies there. He got evicted. And that's even scarier. Imagine had he not gotten evicted. The bodies would still be there. Can't make this up. So now you can see why you can't really question two bobbleheads carrying a baby around. A 5-year-old crushed up in a laundry duffel bag and a CMC bag. Hint, hint. When you're that easily deterred in the mind to be hanging with corpses, living around corpses, sleeping in a house with a corpse, sleeping in a house with your daughter, lying in her own waste, malnourished, you're starving her. This goes to show you what's out here. I don't know why this article won't upload for some reason. Hold on. I was trying to play it so I didn't have to read it. NewYorkDailyNews.com is the source. Well, I don't know what's taking so long. Guess I'll have to read it myself. I'm trying to give myself a break. So, for some reason, it just does not want to load. I don't understand. Oh, they want me to sign up. That's what this is about. The former owner of a Colorado funeral home has been arrested following allegations that he hoarded remains of dozens of people, hid a body in a hearse for nearly 2 years, authorities said on Friday. Miles Harford, 33, was taken into custody late Thursday night after Inglewood police received a report of an intoxicated man in the 4800 block of South Fox Street 9. News reported. An earlier warrant for Harford's arrest in Denver lists potential charges of abuse of a corpse, forgery of a death certificate, and theft of money paid for a woman's cremation. Denver District Attorney Beth McCann previously said additional charges are possible. Harford owned and operated Apollo Funeral Cremation Services in Jefferson County from 2012 to September 2022. His arrest comes about a week after investigators found the body of come on now. This won't let me. Let me find something else because this one just is having too much trouble. Hold on, everybody. I can't get my momentum together in this live stream. It's just I'm off right now. $31 viewing. Thank you for your time. Okay. Denver Post is the source, everybody. Probably just recap what I just read. Oh my God. It's like they don't want you to read anything. Oh my goodness. I don't understand what's going on. I can't read anything. Oh man, this is crazy. I'll read off of Yahoo because I mean every article I open won't let me read it for some reason. Strange. All right. Former funeral home owner in the U.S. accused of hiding a woman's corpse 2 years, hoarding cremated remains of at least 30 people at his home, has been arrested. Miles Hartford, 33, was arrested Thursday night, Denver, Colorado. He owned Apollo Funeral and Cremation Services in Denver, a suburb of Littleton. Police have said hoarded remains appear to be those who died from 2012 to 21. The funeral home has been closed since September 2022. This is bad. This is real bad. We're talking about 10 years or so. 12 to 21, that's 9. Urns stashed around the Hartford property were uncovered in early February during a court-ordered eviction at his home. A warrant lists potential charges of abuse of a corpse, forgery of a death certificate, theft of money paid for a woman's cremation. Though Denver District Attorney Beth McCann said previously that other charges are possible, police initially said Hartford was cooperative with the arrest warrant when the arrest warrant was announced last week, but by Thursday, police couldn't find him and offered a $2,000 award for information leading to his arrest. Available court documents did not yet list a defense attorney who could comment on Hartford's behalf. No voicemail was set up at a telephone listing for Hartford, and he has not responded to emails seeking comment. Denver Police Commander Matt Clark previously said in an interview before an arrest warrant was issued that Hartford acknowledged to police that he owed money to several cemeteries in the area and that none would cremate the 63-year-old woman's body, so he decided to store it in the hearse. Her family told investigators they were given what they believed were the woman's ashes, which have been turned over to the medical examiner's office. Hartford's arrest follows the discovery of 190 decaying bodies in a bug-infested building run by the Return to Nature Funeral Home in Penrose, Colorado, about 2 hours south of Denver. A married couple who own Return to Nature are awaiting trial in Colorado Springs following their arrest last year on allegations they gave fake ashes to relatives of the deceased. The operators of funeral home in the western Colorado city of Montrose, received federal prison sentences last year for mail fraud after they were accused of selling body parts and distributing fake ashes. How crazy is that? So we have a very young man, 33, Caucasian, Miles Hartford. He has now been arrested. Don't know if he bonded out or not, but he obviously has some mental issues because it makes no sense for you to be in debt with funeral homes and all of this. I thought when you had a crematorium, you have all the things you need to break the body down, to put into ashes, to then give to the families. I never heard of somebody having a website saying, I'm a crematorium or whatever, but then I'm going to other people to break the bodies down. This makes no sense to me. This is stupid. This is utterly stupid. Yahoo News is the source if you need verification for that information. This doesn't make any sense to me. It's absolutely dumb, and dumber. Excuse my language, but this is stupid to me. I just don't understand what the hell's going on with everybody. It's got some sick sensation with carrying corpses around. I don't understand. 1 second, everybody. I'm going to put the link in the chat. Sorry, it's slow motion today. I can't get it together. All right. 1 second. I haven't fixed that when I die, my body is being donated to the UT Body Farm. Well, we hope it can get there. All I'm saying. Because you obviously can't trust folks. Can't trust folks at all. I'm dropping the link in case somebody wants to come up and give his or her opinion to this nonsense. Because that's all this is right here. Absolute nonsense. Thank you for joining me, everybody. 2-part live. African-American female, Knoxville, Tennessee, was served 4 years for leaving her boy child in a hot car back in the summer of 2019. Judge threw out 2 search warrants of her phone, saying it was excessive searching, unwarranted. And the second part of this live is pertaining to Denver, Colorado. A man was evicted out of his home, and a woman was found in a hearse, I guess in the back of the property. You can see where it was gated up, covered, where nobody could see back there. So you wouldn't know what was going on anyway in the yard. And then they also discovered 30 more bodies that were not disposed of properly, cremated, so on and so forth. That's the said information during this live stream. 2-part live, everybody. If you want to hit the link to give your opinion pertaining to this double matinee or double feature, feel free to hit the link. Thank you for joining me. Well, not in the state of Colorado, you don't. Which I find appalling and just absolutely juvenile to just say, well, hey, open up a business. I'll bury your loved one. Hey, give me $50. Give me $60. Come on now. Just anybody can open up a funeral home, crematorium. So what these people are doing and what other people do to hustle you out of money. Hey, I can fix your driveway. I can fix your roof. I can put your cabinets up. I could put your flooring down. I could drop a swimming pool in the back. And then they start the work and then leave, and they've already got your deposit money and keep it moving. That's what this sounds like to me. Because now you got to go back in time to see, ask what type of person was he running the business years before. Were there any questions, complaints by town folk about his services? Because he was in business for a while. So did he have his own building? Where was he working years before to dispose of the remains? I'm curious. Because even when you go back to that Penrose nonsense, nice looking website, good reviews on there, people speaking nicely of the people, because I'm assuming this was maybe a family owned business, because it looked like there were older men on there as well on the website. Maybe this guy took over for his father. I don't know, but it ain't no more. Because I think they had different funeral homes in different jurisdictions in the state of Colorado. The link is in the chat. You want to chat it up with the Queen briefly? Give your opinion. Double feature this live stream. Very terrible situation to think that someone is trusting you to do right with a dead person. That's what's baffling. Because as I said, there's no respect for the living. You should know there wouldn't be any respect for the dead. You're assuming, oh, well, they're dead. They'll do right. They'll bury him, do right. So you don't know what they're doing. If they're taking organs out, but people don't understand, taking an organ out, it has to be chilled. It has to be cooled. Can't just take an organ out and then say what? Go on eBay. Hey, I got a heart for sale. I got a leg for sale. Come on now. Use common sense. The body part would have to be on ice. And I ain't saying somebody wouldn't go to the lengths of doing it. I'm sure somebody's done it already. But how sick would that be? Some underground group, doctors or whoever, surgeons, soliciting people to take out body parts at funeral homes or wherever, and then call their number, send them an email. And then what? How are you going to get it, the body part from over there to where you are? So then you get it there. However, you call the family and say, hey, we got a heart. We got a matching heart. We got a matching liver. It's crazy. It's utter nonsense. That's why sometimes it's hard to even believe that. Body part swapping. Because that had to be an intricate conspiracy of people involved. Because as I said, somebody has to know to cut the organ out, who to take it to, get it to that person, and who's paying for the helicopter ride if it's not legal. So you got to think about all those type of things. Well, that's my said commentary. There was a story I saw earlier. I want to play for you all briefly. I'll be right back. Give me 1 second. I want to play this other content I found today. Hold on. All right, everybody. Thank you for waiting. One second. Here's a story I found today while doing this research for these two subject matters, specifically the one about the funeral home owner. This is a very sick story. Just to show you that people are out here hustling for money. That's why I'm getting ready to play you this next commentary. And once again, there has been an arrest in the University of Georgia student, the young lady who was unalive near the athletic fields. They do have an arrest of a migrant who was illegal. He isn't illegal, and he came through Border Patrol, but they let him go. And I believe it's an opportunity, a crime of opportunity. But then one would say, well, most crimes are. They're either that or personal. Take your pick. Okay, let me see. KHOU 11 is the source of this next one.
Without a permit.
Today, investigators removed people from the home, saying that
Tonight, a woman is behind bars after running a group home without a permit.
Today, investigators removed people from the home, saying they were living in, quote, deplorable conditions. Devon Roaming joins us live in Fort Bend County tonight with the story. Devon.
Well, Mia and Lynn, I spoke with the suspect's son earlier this evening who says his mom really did love and care for the people living in the home. But tonight, the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office says she has to pay the consequences for violating the law.
What's happening behind the walls of this home in Sugarland off New Village Lane, neighbors say, is alarming.
Something was really up with them, and we just kind of just avoided them.
But for a neighbor who didn't want to be identified,
Get away! Get away!
several run-ins with this seemingly aggressive dog and people at the home is what led the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office here Friday morning.
This morning, my kids were not able to go to the bus stop because of that German Shepherd, so at 6 a.m., I called them 911.
The Sheriff's Office says when they got here, they found 9 people living inside with obvious signs of neglect and possible injuries. 5 of them had to be transferred to the hospital for treatment. Deputies say this woman, 51-year-old Samantha Renee Morris, was operating the group home without a permit.
That has been going on for quite some time, and I even reported it to the HOA.
Morris was arrested on site.
HOA.
Which came as a surprise
The hell?
to the parents of Justin McClure, who's been living at the home for the last few months.
Oh.
We spoke with them by phone.
He was receiving mental health and treatment, medical treatment from West Park Springs Treatment Center a couple of months ago. They said, well, we know of some group homes that we can recommend and make arrangements for, which is what they did.
You guys were under the impression of what with him coming here?
That it was either some kind of a group home where they would address all his needs.
Okay, so it wasn't a boarding house.
Medical, mental health, anything he needs, food. That's all included in his the fee that they charge.
And what was that fee?
$1,100 a month.
Wow.
Money, they say, paid directly to Morris via Zelle each month.
I just didn't know that, it was ran without a license. I didn't ask either.
We didn't ask.
We assumed it would be.
Right.
Fort Bend County Sheriff Eric
All right,
Fagan
Hagen, hold on.
releasing a statement saying, in part, this is not just a violation of the law, it's betrayal of trust, neglecting the well-being of residents who deserve safety, care, and dignity.
My main concern is that that these young people that are still there are not released somewhere unsafe, such as the street.
Now, the Sheriff's Office says this remains an ongoing investigation, but it's unclear what's next for the people still living in the home tonight. In Fort Bend County, Devon Rahman, KHOU 11 News.
All right, 51-year-old woman.
Project Brilliance.
51-year-old woman. New Village Lane. Several adults living in a home needed medical attention, according to the Fort Bend County Fire Marshal's office. What a mess. All right, hold on a minute. Honey, let me get this up here. I don't know why I didn't go through. Probably because I had a colon instead. You have to be careful when you're typing in this stuff. I tried to copy it, and for some reason it won't go through. Okay. All right. The link is back in the chat. If you want to hit the link to discuss all 3 of these subject matters, hit the link. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Welcome all new subs, viewers, old subs, people just scrolling the queue looking for stimulating content, commentary. What are you talking about, Cole? What about a phone call? Looking forward to this weather getting better here. Thank the Lord. Supposed to be really nice next week. Almost 70 degrees. That'd be a wonderful day. Yesterday was nice. And then quick as I started running around, here comes that cool breeze blowing in. I thought I was in Chicago. The way the wind was blowing, I was like, wait a minute, where am I? It was gusty yesterday afternoon. I couldn't wait to get inside. Queen was out trying to look for something particular. It's always like that. When you're looking for something particular, you can't find what you're looking for. But if I was just out passing through and just decided to be, browsing in a store, naturally, I'd see what I want. It'd be there. Oh, yeah. Well, I thought Hagen was going to hit the link. She said it didn't work. I don't know what's taking so long. This live it's a little off today. It takes me so long to get the information queued up, and you wouldn't think it would take forever to queue up information, but sometimes the articles, they don't load good when they have audio. For some reason, I don't know why. They always buffer. Takes forever. Oh, Lord, I wish I could disappear. Hagen, can you not hit the link? What's the problem? Oh, thank you, Princess. Princess Chicken. Oh, my goodness. What a username. Well, thank you. Welcome to the Vault Excel. Thank you. Tuning in. Hope you're subscribed. This is started out as a 2-part live pertaining to a woman who's agreed to a lesser charge of unaliving her child, left her child in a hot car back in 2019, summer 2019. The baby boy is 6 months old. She's going to be doing 4 years in prison. And then the second part of this live stream is pertaining to a man who was arrested. He had corpses on his property. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Took you a while, didn't it?
Yeah, it's acting all kinds of crazy. It might be because of the wind. I don't know.
Hold on a minute. Hold on 1 second. I got to take care of something right quick. Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. Go ahead. Let's start with the baby in the hot car.
That's deplorable. That woman had to know what she was doing. And according to the news report that I watched, she had been sending terrible messages to the baby's father about couldn't handle it anymore, that kind of thing. So, and how do you miss a baby?
Well, obviously she did.
You can't miss a baby. They're going to make
Even if
noise
you were
in the
running
car.
errands all day, you're busy, jumping in and out of cars, groceries, this and that. Just asking.
You're not going to miss a baby. Especially on a hot August day, you're going to be thinking, oh my God, I got to get this baby out of the car.
Okay.
Even before you put the groceries in the house.
Yeah. Well, let's start in the morning because that's how this started. She had 2 children in the car. Only one made it to school.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She loaded both the kids in the car, diaper bag, backpack, her lunch bag, her purse.
Okay.
As a mom with kids, you go through a checklist every morning.
Some do. Everybody don't do that, hey. You go through a checklist.
Yeah, I went through a checklist when I had small kids.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't live like that. Let's be truthful. A lot of people are fly-by-nighters. They just wake up and go. I see this every day with people. They have no regard for anything. They just go, walk around, not jump off the subject, but when I was at Walmart yesterday, I was asking this guy for help looking at the light bulbs because all the light bulbs start looking the same to me in the damn aisle where I just couldn't even see. I was trying to find a 3-way bulb, which I guess they didn't make them. But the gist of the story is he smelled. You understand what I'm saying? And then I was in the company of somebody else that was just putrid their odor. And I'm sitting here thinking, what is the problem? But this is the kind of world we live in. Nobody cares about anything. Nobody cares about hygiene, how they look, combing their hair, what they wear out in public, going outside with your pajamas on and your house shoes in the stores. I mean, just don't give a damn.
No, they don't. But at the same time, when you have kids, you've got to be on some kind of schedule, especially, when you're leaving to go to work, that kind of thing. And as your kids get older, life gets easier.
Well, Ruby Frankie, she seemed like she was meticulous, but she expected her kids to pack a lunch and punish one for not taking a lunch. Remember that?
Yeah, but that's different. That lady was nuts.
No. We're talking about people in general. We're talking about people in general.
I mean, we could go back to like the case in California where that woman had all them kids tied up in the house. I don't even remember the woman's name.
Well,
but the point of the matter is, when you go through a routine, like you're putting the kids in the car, you're packing the bags in the car. Are you not going to unpack each child with each bag and,
Well, see, the thing about a story is what it is, a story.
Yeah.
You entitled to believe what the person said happened or not. So I believe the cops saw what they saw, and that's why they seized her phone. They saw the bags in the floorboard, which led them to believe she saw that baby in that car before going to work.
Yes, because that's not a big car at all. It's a Nissan Altima.
Yeah. See, I kept thinking of an SUV. That's what my mind was telling me. Well, maybe it was a truck because it's been a few years since I covered the story. But it makes sense.
It doesn't, because the Nissan Altima is a 4-door little. It's like the economy car that Nissan makes. Like Ford made the Escort.
Yeah, well, Altima, depending on what year Altima, they could be a little bigger than Tercel or something like that. But the point they're saying is it's tight in there. That's basically it's tight. How you feel this to child?
What I'm saying is it's still a tiny car. Like you cannot miss anything.
Well, she could have said, "Oh, I had tinted windows. I didn't pay any attention when I got out." But we know that doesn't matter because you had to get your purse out the back seat.
Well, then how did the other lady claim to see the foot of the child?
No. The daughter saw it when the daughter got in the car and they got to Food City.
Oh, okay.
She's sitting in the front seat and sees the foot. I mean, she turned around.
Yeah.
But I think there was
an elementary school child, was it not?
I think it was a woman maybe sitting in her car. Maybe she was waiting on somebody, and then she saw them go in the store. So maybe they didn't stay in there that long, came out. I don't know if this is true or not. But she's saying she didn't start hollering and screaming until she came out of the store. But the way the story is spun is that she saw the baby was dead when they pulled up to the Food City. before going into the store. The baby's 6 months old. It's a boy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the little girl was elementary school, right?
9.
Okay. Maybe middle school, but still, that's a small child turning around and can see a foot. So that means there's not much room in that car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. I think she did it intentionally.
Okay. Oh,
I
Lord.
hate to say that about folks, but anymore, you just don't know.
Hold on a second. She jumped off there. Okay, go ahead. Well, she's getting 4 years.
I think she deserves a lot more time than that.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole point about the judicial system. You've got to prove the state she deliberately left her child in the car. You can't prove it either by the judge or by the 12 members of the jury.
Yeah. Our system's broken, but Lord have mercy. And I'm still dumbfounded that there's more people stacking bodies up just willy-nilly.
Well, this just goes to show you don't know people, like the neighbor said, young guy that was speaking. You don't know what's going on in people's houses. You have no idea what's going on anywhere. Because as I said, once again, everything's a version. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who wants to tell the truth? You know, oh yeah, I've been running a funeral home business and I haven't been cremating the people.
Yeah.
And then at the house, even what's worse is this isn't even a building storing bodies or a garage or a shed or a barn. This is a house where you're paying rent to another person who owns the house. How crazy is that? That's not even your real house.
Yes, it is a private residence. Yes. And you're just renting it. You're not, you don't pay the mortgage, you're paying rent.
And I'm sure he was sitting there scared to death, trying to figure out how he was going to get those bodies off that property, knowing he was being evicted. I can't even imagine being him, one, doing that, and then realizing, oh my gosh, I got all these bodies here. How am I going to get these bodies off of this property?
Well, here's the thing. In most states, they give you like a 30-day notice or a 15-day notice or some kind of notice. So,
Hagen, listen to what you're saying now.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is,
what are you going to do with 31 bodies, Hagen?
I don't know, but something has to be done.
What you're saying. If he had somewhere to store them in the first place properly, they would have never been at his fucking house.
Well, that would be my
he didn't have nowhere to take them, and he's got an eviction notice.
Well, that's my next question. Why didn't he hand over the cremated remains to the people?
They were never cremated, honey. That's what are you not listening?
I thought 30 of them were cremated.
Listen, what did I just say? 31 bodies.
Okay.
Are you asleep? Hell, I thought I was tired.
I just got my coffee.
Listen. One in the hearse, older lady, theft, because he took the money for her but didn't cremate her. I also believe he gave some type of remains. Don't know what that is. They're getting ready to test that. And then they discovered 30 plus bodies besides the woman in the hearse. And the woman in the hearse, she's been stored in the hearse for 2 years.
How could he live in that?
Well, Pinto, Hagen, I don't know what be going on with Hagen sometimes. I said she must not understood what I was saying in the information. These are whole bodies.
Yeah, see, I was under the understanding that he cremated 30 and there was one body. That's why I was like, why didn't he hand over the cremated remains? But now I'm understanding. Oh my.
Yeah. Because when they show you the picture of the house, it's like a fence sitting in front of the driveway, and then it's got that green stuff interlooped in it, so you couldn't see through the fence. I said, yeah, how convenient. So I don't know if that came with the property or not, or he built that, but nonetheless, you should never took on something that you could not finish, and that's how I look at it.
Yeah. Whether he ran out of gas at his own crematory, whether he just didn't, it doesn't, it's bad.
I know you did
Huh?
not just say gas. Did you just say gas?
I
What
don't
you
know how they
mean?
use it. They got to get the fire going in the crematorium.
See, ask yourself this. Did he even have the machinery? Because if you listen to the article, they said he had burned bridges with people by owing them money. So my thing is, then you couldn't have had a machinery in the first place. So why would you be offering that service on a website and you didn't have it in the first place? These people are entrusting you to be cremating the bodies. You didn't even have, obviously, a crematorium legit with the machinery.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, and maybe that's how come he owed other funeral homes money.
Yeah, he used other people, and they should have been leery about that. Why is he offering
And
this service if he doesn't have his own legal crematorium?
and I'm still in awe that he was able to do this without a license, but that's the way Colorado is.
Well, Colorado, the governor, whoever, they need their tail whooped, because I never heard of such. How are you going to have funeral services that aren't legally licensed to operate? Why would somebody want to go to a funeral home without a legal license? That means anybody, like that story about that boy who was hustling people over there in Texas and Houston, pretending to be a funeral director, and he's got them in the church and they're swole, they're not embalmed, because he was hustling people out their money.
Yes.
Filing their paperwork and doing all that stuff to get the insurance money. Just a low down dog.
Yeah, because they have to do most of the time they do all the work, because these people that bring their deceased loved ones, they're not in their right frame of mind sometimes.
Well, that's why that young boy and that girl, that older lady, they were able to hustle people because they found people that were poor and said, "Oh, I'll help you. I'll offer you this free, a carriage and a horse," which anybody with sense should know. Who's going to offer you a carriage and a horse for free?
Yeah.
No way you can believe that.
And it's sad because all these stories, we can sit here and say, well, this story sounds like this one or that one. And this is continuing to go on with everything. And I'm dumbfounded by how the lady was running a group home that was referred by, other places without
I
a
didn't know if it was a
license.
boarding house or a group home. That's what was confusing to me, because it was like, well, if it was legal through agencies and medical insurance and all that to send the people there, then it would have to seem legit. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not just somebody running a personal ad saying, "Hey, I'm taking in people, you can rent a room for me." These family members just spoke and said, we went through the medical procedures, blah, blah, blah. They told us what all's included in the fee. So they thought they was doing it legitimately.
Yeah. Which that makes me wonder, did she have some kind of license at one point and decided not to pay the relicensing, or?
I don't know. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Hold on.
Okay.
Dinner's ready, babe.
Okay.
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that.
Okay. No, you're fine. And see, that's the other thing that gets me. They carted all those people off with medical injuries. They put her in jail, and then they left the other people there. Well, they're there because they need help.
Well,
they were put there to be babysat and to, maybe taught life skills or something. I don't know, but they left those people there.
Where you hear that they was left?
That there was some of the residents were still there at the group home.
I guess I missed that part. Oh, well, she had got arrested.
Yes. I would
But you know,
think
the
that the
interesting
state
part,
would.
but the interesting part, somebody in that house called.
Yeah. But then we'd have to ask why they called. Were they hungry? Were they not being cared for properly? Something
They
was
said it was,
going on.
listen, it said deplorable conditions is what the article said.
Like I said, this world's gone to heck in a handbasket. Well, I guess the almighty dollar outrules, feelings or services that you're supposed to get, and then that woman that lady that got killed by the illegal immigrant. There's been a lot of things going on with the illegal people.
Right.
Our government is they're not going the rules of what the laws are. Because according to what I read, if you cross the border illegally, you're to be deported back to wherever you came from, not sit in the United States. This is just totally crazy and absurd. People are not safe anywhere, with anybody, with anything. Kids are not safe. Nobody's safe anymore. I guess people just do not have a moral compass.
All right, so I was listening to you. Go ahead, finish. You there? Oh, she fell off. Okay, everybody. Well, Pinto, that's the point. We aren't safe anywhere. We're not safe anywhere. So that's the way it goes. I was thinking that about the young girl who was unalived down in Georgia at the campus. A window opportunity for a sadist to be out stalking, looking for prey, and you don't know where you're going to be where something bad's going to happen. In this world, you have to trust your instincts. You have to trust to be out in public. You have to trust to be wherever. And it's just sad. You can't go anywhere. You can't walk anywhere. You can't go hike anywhere. You can't let people in your apartment. You just can't do anything. And it's just a sad thing. Just like this situation with these people, trusting somebody to take their loved one and cremate them or have a funeral service. You're assuming that you're dealing with legitimate people. And we're just in a world where people aren't legitimate. They're just not. It's just sad. Very sad. Well, I guess Hagen fell off. I don't know what happened. Hold on one second. Said fraudulent grant money, maybe. Well, the money's coming from a medical company, I'm assuming. But as Hagen said, maybe something happened with how she lost her license, or maybe somebody came and investigated. But then one would say if somebody came to investigate, practice is there, wouldn't they remove the people from the house? So are we talking about mentally disabled adults, physically disabled adults, all adults, children? What are we saying? It's very sad. Very sad situation. Very sad situation. I said, come back. Yeah, she probably fell off. Might have been, maybe the phone went dead or something. I had to do something. That's fine. I'm not going to hold you all because I'm always an hour and 36 minutes in. But this is a 2-part live. I'll bring you an update pertaining to this story, because this is an ongoing story at the moment. You'll have to go to hearings to see about the situation and how he'll plead, so on and so forth. He's very young, 33 years of age. It's sad you let your life get in such a jacked up situation of, harboring bodies, because I don't know if he had a building or a real crematorium and something happened. He didn't have the machinery. I don't know, because the story doesn't make any sense. And then you got to ask yourself, how did the bodies get to the house? Which naturally, he had to carry them there by hearse. And then what were they in, the bodies? In a shed, in a garage, what? Very, very sick situation. When you sit up here and try to figure out, the bodies naturally got to the property some type of way. He had to be that person to get them there. Did he also have help? Somebody helping him work at a funeral home, or this, that, and the other? What actually happened? Who are his helpers, workers? Does somebody else know about this situation and they turned a blind eye and didn't do anything? So you have to ask all those questions. Now you got to ask about the neighbors. Did they smell anything? Did they notice anything suspicious? Because now you got to ask yourself about the storage of the bodies. Where were they stored? How were they stored? Were they in tarps, plastic bags, plastic wrapping? What? This is sad. And the fact that he's charging somebody for a service that he did not do, did not perform ethically, morally, and then put that person in a hearse and just let her lie there. So then you got to ask yourself, did the hearse work? Was it drivable, operable? This is bad. So just like that story with the 2 young people dating, on drugs, carrying a deceased child around with them, Harmony Montgomery, it's just a bad situation. Hold on one second, please, everybody. Hello. All right, everybody. I'm sitting here just shaking my head. Terrible how these loved ones were treated, and to not properly bury or cremate these people. He better pray for forgiveness is all I can say. Well, he's no different than the couple in Penrose. That's a travesty, because at some point somebody trusted these people to do the right thing, and then they stopped. Don't know what the problem is or was, but it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Just ridiculous. But the one thing I've learned, and I'm learning every day in dealing with these type of situations, is that you don't know people and you really don't know what's going on. As I said, you have to trust somebody to do something for you at some point. You have to trust people to do something for you, such as medical care, EMT, pick you up. If you're sick, if you're hurt, shot, whatever, injured, they'll do right by you. Get to the hospital. The staff will do right by you. You have to trust somebody. Nursing home, same thing. Group home, children, disabled adults, disabled children. You have to put your trust in somebody at some point. What is sad is that people aren't doing right by people alive. That's what's crazy to me. People are, you can't trust them to do right by a living creature. Now, fast forward. You are no longer living. Naturally, you don't know what's going on. So your family is left to have to bury you. And then you got these vultures coming out, pretending to be funeral directors, trying to get money, just ridiculous. Taking the body and hiding it somewhere. You don't know where the body is, to have a regular funeral service. Then 2, cremation as well. Now imagine this man, he's given this family of this woman, this elderly woman, remains. They don't even know whose remains those are, because they just found her in the hearse when he got evicted from the house. And she's been back there for 2 whole years. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. You just don't know people. You don't know people. You don't know what's going on out here. And like I said, you pray that people will do right by you. You pray that people will do right by you. But it's the world we're in. You can't trust people to do right. And it's just a sad situation. Big money in funeral services. My brother works for one. Oh, well, what does he do, Pinto? What does he do for the funeral service? Well, that's my commentary. As I said before, this is a 2-part live pertaining to Chantae Cabrera, who has gotten a 4-year sentence for her child passing away in a hot car in 2019 in Knoxville, Tennessee. And the second part of this live is pertaining to a man in Colorado who's been arrested for abuse of corpses, having the corpses on his property. The bodies were discovered because he was evicted from the house that he was renting. What I found funny when they mentioned something about homeowners association, I thought, what? That neighborhood didn't look like it was that swanky to have no homeowners association. I'm not trying to be funny, but they look like just standard, ranchers. It's very weird. But nonetheless, when I get an update to that information, I will bring it to you all. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $McAngie, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome during the live stream. You all have a wonderful weekend. Please check out my movie suggestion of the week, which is Karen. It is from 2021, playing on the All Black Network and also in the YouTube queue. You can watch it by buying or renting it. Please take the polls on my community page and also check there for said updates. And once again, the young woman who was found unalive down in Georgia, the University of Georgia, near the intramural fields, sport fields, they have an arrest, and he is a migrant. So we will see what happens there, if they'll put him in a prison here, found guilty, or send him back to where he's from. I think they said Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll go from there. Oh, he handles the wakes and funerals, takes care of family, goes with coroner to get the bodies. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I wonder, does he like it? I guess he would if he's doing it. Well, does he talk about the job itself, that he likes doing it, how long he's been doing it? Well, anywho, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you all for your time. I'll get back with you all a little bit later, probably Monday, and we'll discuss some more commentary. Forgive me, I'm a little out of sorts during this live stream, but I'll be back a little bit later on in the week. Thank you all so much for joining me. You've been listening to the Vault Excel. Thank you.